Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Rasulillah. Let's start from here. The author says, may Allah have mercy upon him. قال المؤلف رحمه الله ويشترط فوق ذلك شرط. And there is above that a condition. وهو ركن عظيم في الاجتهاد. That condition is a very great, important integral in ijtihad. وهو فقه النفس. It is a قوة الفهم والإدراك. It is prodigious genius. وتشترط العدالة, and trustworthiness is conditional. That means conditional for taking from the mujtahid, not for actually being one. وهي السلامة من الكبائر ومن المداومة على الصغائر. That is being sound from the major sins and from persistence in small sins, or persisting on small sins. قال ومن المداومة على الصغائر, and from persistence, يعني consistency in doing small sins. بحيث تغلب على حسناته من حيث العدد, such that those small sins outnumber his good deeds. Once those small sins outnumber his good deeds, then he will get a major sin. That is a major sin. Ash-SharH, the explanation. ليس كل مسلم يستطيع أن يستخلص علم الدين من القرآن والحديث مباشرة. Not every Muslim is able to extract the knowledge of the religion from the Quran and the Hadith directly. لأن القرائح تختلف. This is because the brilliance varies. هذا ذكاؤه أقوى من هذا. This one, his mind is stronger than that one. وهذا ذكاؤه أقوى من هذا. And that one, his mind is stronger than that one. وهذا بليد وهذا أبلد. And this one is stupid, and this one is stupider. وَهَؤُلَاءِ الْأَئِمَّةُ الْمُجْتَهِدُونَ. And those mujtahid imams, كُلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى أَعْطَاهُمْ قَرَائِحَ قَوِيَّةً. All of them, Allah gave them, exalted is He, powerful genius. أَذْهَانًا قَوِيَّةً. Strong minds. Well, I'm trying to find some words that mean more, that stand out more than saying strong mind or just genius. ومما يدل على قوة قرائحهم أنه كان في زمن وجود الشافعي بالمدينة عند مالك بعد أن درس على مالك زمانا جاء رجل حلف. One story that proves the strength of their genius is what happened during the time when Ash-Shafi'i was in Medina studying under Malik. He had been studying under him for some time when a man came, a man who swore, قال علي الطلاق أن هذا القمري لا يهدأ من صياح. but something odd there for me. والقمري نوع من الحمام فسأل مالك قال أنا حلفت بطلاق زوجتي أن هذا القمري لا يهدأ من صياح. فقال له مالك رضي الله عنه طلقت امرأتك. ومالك قال له ذلك لأنه معلوم أنه لابد أن يهدأ من الصياح بعد الوقت. So it's just interesting structure of the sentence here, because the way I know the story, it should be translated like this: that the man said, I made my wife's divorce contingent upon the Qumri bird not singing. وَالْقُمْرِيُّ نَوْعٌ مِنَ الْحَمَامِ. The Qumri is a type of pigeon. فَسَأَلَ مَالِكَ. So he asked Malik. قال أنا حلفت بطلاق زوجتي أن هذا القمري لا يهدأ من صياح. He said, I swore to divorce my wife. So the meaning of if is in here. There's a condition in here. But where is that? Where's the conditional particle in here? So the word anna, the scholars, they did say that it's used for ta'lil. Inna and anna, they come for ta'lil sometimes. That means giving the reason. So that's what's slowing me down here when I'm reading this. I understand, I learned the story. I'm looking at the Arabic now and I want to translate it. Anna usually translates as that. So if I translated it that way, it goes like this. The man came, he swore, he said, on me is a divorce that this Qumri doesn't stop singing. On me is a divorce that this Qumri doesn't stop singing. So when I put it that way, it actually becomes a little more clear for me. But it's a nice way of speaking here. وَالْقُمْرِيُّ نَوْعٌ مِنَ الْحَمَامِ. Okay, so the Qumri is a type of pigeon. So he asked Malik. He said to him, now very literal translation, I swore to divorce my wife that this Qumri doesn't stop singing. So it's supposed to mean if. So where's if? فَقَالَ لَهُ مَالِكٌ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. So Malik said to him, may Allah accept from him. Where's if here? I'm not saying it's missing. Rather, this is lofty sentence here. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the sentence. So Malik said to him, your wife is divorced. And Malik said that to him because it's known that it is inevitable that it will stop singing at some time. So then she's divorced. ثم عرف الشافعي أن مالكا أفتى هذا الإنسان بطلاق زوجته. Then Ash-Shafi'i knew that Malik gave this person the verdict that his wife is divorced. فقال له لم تطلق زوجتك. And then Ash-Shafi'i said to him, your wife is not divorced. He said to him the opposite, the exact opposite of what Malik said to him. Ash-Shafi'i nazar. Ash-Shafi'i nazar. Ash-Shafi'i looked. فقال هذا الرجل لما حلف بطلاق زوجته أن هذا القمري لا يهدأ من صياح that this man, when he swore to divorce his wife, if this Qumri stops singing, ما قصد أنه كل ساعة لا يهدأ. He didn't mean that at every second he never stops. إنما قصده أنه كثير الصياح. It merely means that it sings a lot. فلم تنكسر يمينه. So his swear was not broken. فلم تطلق المرأة. And so the woman was not divorced. ثم رجع الرجل إلى مالك. Then the man came to Malik. فقال له, and he said to him, هنا فتى أفتاني بأنه لم تطلق زوجتي. There is a young man here who gave me a verdict that my wife is not divorced. قال من هو? Malik said, who's he? قال هذا. He said, this one. فحضر الشافعي. And so Ash-SharH was present, or he appeared, or maybe means he stepped forward. فقال له مالك. And so Malik said, كيف قلت للرجل إن امرأتك لم تطلق? How did you say to this man that your wife is not divorced? قال أليس أنت حدثتنا? So Ash-SharH said to him, isn't it that you told us أن رجلين خطب امرأة, that there were two men who proposed to a woman, يقال لها فاطمة بنت قيس. She's called Fatima, the daughter of Qais. أحدهما معاوية والآخر أبو جهم. One of those two men was Muawiyah, and the other was Abu Jahm. فقال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. And so the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, he said to that woman, because she came to him to ask him about these men who proposed to her, what does he advise? So he said, أما أبو جهم فلا يضع عصاه عن عاتقه. As for Abu Jahm, he does not take his stick from his shoulder. وأما معاوية فصعلوك. And as for Muawiyah, he's poor. لا مال له. He has no money. فهل أراد الرسول لما قال. So did the messenger mean when he said لا يضع عصاه عن عاتقه أنه في حال النوم وفي حال الأكل العصا تظل على عاتقه? So did he mean that when he said he does not take the stick from his shoulder, that when he's sleeping and when he's eating, the stick is still on his shoulder? أم أراد أنه كثير الحمل والملازمة للعصا? Or did he mean that he carries the stick a lot? And yes, that he has the stick a lot. And he sticks to it. لأنه يحب الضرب, because he likes beating. He likes to hit. Yani, does it mean that the stick is on his shoulder when he's asleep and when he's eating, or does it mean he keeps the stick a lot because he likes to strike? من هذا الحديث أخذت الحكم. Ash-SharH said, from this hadith I took the judgment. فسكت مالك ولم يعارض. And so Malik was silent and he did not oppose him. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him. وأما المقلد فهو الذي لم يصل إلى هذه المرتبة. As for the mimic, the imitator, the follower, he is the one who did not reach this level. So to some people, that sentence means he's the one who doesn't have a lot of knowledge. But if you have knowledge, then you know this means even if he has a lot of knowledge, a lot, even if he's a massive, massive scholar in several fields, if he didn't reach that level of the mujtahid, he's a muqallid. Like most of the hadith scholars, like most of the scholars from the Salaf, most of them, all those scholars following the madhabs. Who are the imams? Yani, who became the imams? Ash-Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Malik, and Ahmed. Of course, there's other imams who never stopped being imams. But in terms of whose knowledge kept being transmitted and is the fundamental knowledge of the Muslims, the Sunni Muslims, these are the imams in these days. And the vast, vast majority of scholars are following these ones. So those are all muqallids. Who do you know? And Nawawi, he's a muqallid in Shafi'i school. Ibn Abidin, he's a muqallid in Hanafi school. And like that. Mullah Ali Al-Qari, rahimahullah, he's muqallid, Hanafi school. And like that. Ash-SharH Al-Muqallid lahu rukhsah. The explanation is that the imitator, he has a facility. He has a permission. An easier rule. He has an easier rule. بأن يعمل بأي مذهب يريد. His facility is to practice any madhab he wants. So who lacks that facility? The mujtahid himself. The mujtahid follows his own madhab. The one who's not a mujtahid follows any other mujtahid's madhab. Any mujtahid's madhab. He's not obligated to stick to any madhab. Because there's only one person that he must follow in all cases. Who's that? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There is no other human being that he must follow in all cases. Meaning, not Shafi'i, not Malik, not Abu Hanifa, not anyone else. Now, don't say to me, what about another prophet? I'm not going there. Of course, any prophet, you have to do whatever he tells you. You take what he says to you, you believe what he says. But now we are following Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam at this time. So that's the correct rule. You can follow, if you are a muqallid, any madhab you want. But it's better for you to learn one madhab. Learn one madhab at a time because each madhab has its own clockwork. When you start to understand this clockwork, then that's good for you. Yeah, and it's good for your comprehension of the religion. But if you're just learning rules, say, I want to learn from the Malikis, I'll learn from all of them. Some people, they think they're doing the clever thing by saying, I take from all of them, just tell me any of them. Rather, the clever thing is to learn one madhab at a time. إن شاء يقلد مذهب الشافعي أو مالك أو أبي حنيفة أو أحمد أو غيرهم. If he wants, he follows the madhab of Ash-Shafi'i or Malik or Abu Hanifa or Ahmed or someone else. But how is he going to follow someone else's madhab? I just told you right now, these four are the imams. They are the standing imams. They are the imams whose madhabs have withstood the test of time, as they say. What does that mean? Yani, what is special about these four that the others lack? What's special about these four is that they have been preserved. The entire madhab, in all these four cases, the entire madhab is preserved. Now, I don't know what's up with Hanbali school, though. Hanbali school has something going on there. I don't know what. I'd like to learn about it. A lot of times, the scholars, they mention three madhabs. They say this is what the Shafi'i said, and the Maliki said, and the Hanafi said. A lot of times, they don't mention the Hanbalis. Okay, so you can learn any one of those four madhabs. And others, you cannot learn a complete madhab of another scholar because it's not available. You can just learn pieces. And it's possible to take the saying of a mujtahid whose madhab has dissipated, whether that's a companion or any mujtahid. But you can't follow the madhab of Ibn Abbas. It's not available. Or the madhab of Aisha or of other imams. Though you could take a saying of Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas said that you can touch the Quran without wudu. So the Shaykh said, if he wants, he can follow the Shafi'i school or the Malik, or he can follow the school of Ash-Shafi'i or of Malik or of Abu Hanifa or of Ahmad or of others. وَإِنْ شَاءَ مَرَّةً يُقَلِّدُ هَذَا وَمَرَّةً هَذَا وَمَرَّةً هَذَا. And if he wants, he can follow this one once, at some time, in some instance, or he can follow another one in this instance, or he can follow another one in this instance. Yes. أما المجتهد فلا يعمل بغير اجتهاده. As for the mujtahid, he doesn't have this facility, this rukhsah. He does not practice other than his own ijtihad, because he's able to do it. The Sahaba had madhabs with the meaning that they had mujtahids who differed about rules, and with the meaning that they had mujtahids who answered the questions of the people and had followers. Amongst the Sahaba were mujtahids who had followers, meaning who will take their judgments and teach their judgment, teach it to others. That's what we do. We practice Shafi'i school. We're telling you what a Shafi'i says, or what complies with the fundamentals of a Shafi'i, because the madhab has a clockwork. So the scholars will know the answers to questions according to Ash-Shafi'i. And also, what did we learn? That if you follow a mujtahid, that does not mean that you are a part of his madhab, or let's say a member of his madhab. Your following a madhab doesn't make you a member. What makes you a member? What makes you a member is knowing the proofs. So it means having certain level of knowledge in the madhab. Then you're going to really be a Shafi'i or a Maliki or a Hanafi or a Hanbali. Not saying that you're one of those because you're a layman who learned some very, very, very rudimentary basics according to one of these schools, and then you just make wudu and pray and like that, and that's it. You don't really know the madhab, then you're not really a member of the madhab. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him, والدليل على أن المسلمين على هاتين المرتبتين. And the evidence that the Muslims have these two ranks is قوله sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet saying sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, نظر الله امرأ سمع مقالتي. May Allah illuminate the face of someone, beautify the face of someone who heard what I said. فَوَعَاهَا, and then he memorized it. فَأَدَّاهَا كَمَا سَمِعَهَا, and then he conveyed it as he heard it. This means he's accurate. فَرُبَّ مُبَلِّغٍ لَا فِقْهَ عِنْدَهُ, for many a conveyor there is who lacks fiqh. Many a conveyor there is who lacks fiqh. May Allah beautify the face, illuminate the face of a person who heard maqalati, my saying, who heard what I said. فَوَعَاهَا, and he memorized it. وَعَاهَا ay حَفِظَهَا, he memorized it. فَأَدَّاهَا كَمَا سَمِعَهَا, and he conveyed it, he gave it, he passed it on as he heard it. Yani he was accurate. فَرُبَّ مُبَلِّغٍ لَا فِقْهَ عِنْدَهُ, for many a conveyor there is who lacks fiqh. رواه الترمذي وابن حبان. At-Tirmidhi and Ibn Hibban narrated it. So, نظر الله امرأ سمع مقالتي. May Allah beautify someone who heard what I said. So he heard it. فوعاها, he memorized it. Yes. فأداها كما سمعها, and then he conveyed it as he heard it. Yes, that's clear. What it doesn't say here, though, there's something it doesn't say here. فهمها, he didn't say he understood it. He didn't say ففهمها, he understood it. He said he heard it, and he memorized it, and he conveyed it like he heard it. We know that your comprehension of the statement is not a condition if you're a conveyor. And then that's what he said here. فَرُبَّ مُبَلِّغٍ لَا فِقْهَ عِنْدَهُ. Many a conveyor there is, someone who has heard, he has knowledge, he conveys لَا فِقْهَ عِنْدَهُ, but he doesn't have any fiqh. That means he's not a mujtahid. He's not a mujtahid. So what is he? He's a conveyor to the mujtahid, like we know from other versions of the hadith. So let him just convey those words accurately, the way he got them. Let him adhere to his talaqi strongly, so that he doesn't alter any word for the mujtahid who's going to be receiving from him. Allah knows best. Rawahu Tirmidhi wa Ibn Hibban. At-Tirmidhi and Ibn Hibban narrated that. Ash-SharH, the explanation. Ar-Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam da'a fi hadithihi hadha liman hafiza hadithah. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam prayed in this hadith for whoever memorized his hadith. فَأَدَّاهُ كَمَا سَمِعَهُ, and then he conveyed it as he heard it. مِنْ غَيْرِ تَحْرِيفٍ, without any perversion. He doesn't change it. He doesn't change a letter. He doesn't change a haraka. He doesn't change a sequence of words. بِنَضْرَةِ الْوَجْهِ, the prayer was for his face to be illuminated. أي بحسن وجهه يوم القيامة, meaning for the beautification of his face on resurrection day. وبالسلامة من الكآبة التي تحصل من أهوال يوم القيامة, and for safety from the disaster that falls. If that's a plural, the disasters that fall from the horrors of resurrection day. Meaning, resurrection day is so scary that person's going to be stressed out, so it's going to be on his face. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam making dua for this person's face to be illuminated. The Shaykh is saying for resurrection day, then if his face is going to be illuminated for resurrection day, he's not going to be stressed out. And stressed out is a very soft word there. لأن يوم القيامة يوم الأهوال العظام, because Resurrection Day is the day of great horrors. وَشَدَائِدِ الْجِسَامِ, and the enormous severities. The sky turns crimson. It breaks into pieces and the angels come down. This is so shocking. Yani, imagine the kafir who has no awareness, though. The believer is expecting. It's still going to be another thing to see it. We believe it now. It's still going to see it, inshallah. So that's a whole other thing. If Allah protects you, then your heart will not be shattered here. It will not be about to come out of your throat. We're not talking about something easy to see here. And the earth shaking violently. And subhanallah, how is this earth on that day? Some scene of the world that you lived in will appear for you, like you're there, like I'm in my room right now. Subhanallah, what if I'm questioned in this room right here on Judgment Day? It appears for me, and I'm in it like I'm in it right now. This Yawm al-Qiyamah is very horrifying. Yani, when I say that for me, that means now. Imagine that for every single person. Allah creating all of this on that day. Many, many things. Very scary. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, said the author, may Allah have mercy upon him. وَالشَّاهِدُ فِي الْحَدِيثِ قَوْلُهُ. The point of evidence in the hadith is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, فَرُبَّ مُبَلِّغٍ لَا فِقْهَ عِنْدَهُ. Many a conveyor there is who has no fiqh. وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ, yani the fiqh here means he's not a mujtahid. Yani being a mujtahid is not something the scholars made up. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he taught them how to be mujtahids. He taught them the ijtihad. He raised them in the knowledge until some of them became mujtahids, and he showed them. وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ, and according to a rendition, وَرُبَّ مُبَلَّغٍ أَوْعَى مِنْ سَامِعٍ. Many a receiver there is who has more comprehension than who heard firsthand. Many a receiver there is who has more comprehension than who heard firsthand. فَإِنَّهُ يُفْهِمُنَا. It does indeed make us understand أَنَّ مِمَّنْ يَسْمَعُونَ الْحَدِيثَ مِنَ الرَّسُولِ, that amongst those who hear the hadith from the messenger is مَنْ حَظُّهُ أَنْ يَرْوِيَ مَا سَمِعَهُ لِغَيْرِهِ. He whose share is merely to narrate what he heard to someone else. Yani, حَظُّهُ, his share. That means not more, just this much. Don't do more. His share, his contribution is merely to narrate what he heard to someone else. So how that's going to be? That's going to be by somebody who did take the time to learn, and he did become knowledgeable, even if he didn't become a mujtahid. And he took care of his knowledge, he took care of his books, and he memorized, and he was accurate. And then he became reliable, and then he transmits. And then someone will take from him, and that one should be like him, and then transmit. And then the knowledge will stay pure like that. And there will always be people like that. That is the mercy of Allah Ta'ala on the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that he did not have on the people of the Torah or the people of the Injil. وَيَكُونُ هُوَ فَهْمُهُ أَقَلَّ مِنْ فَهْمِ مَنْ يُبَلِّغُهُ. And this one who, this is his mere share and his mere contribution. His comprehension would be inferior to the comprehension of the one to whom he conveys. بِحَيْثُ إِنَّ مَنْ يُبَلِّغُهُ هَذَا السَّامِعُ يَسْتَطِيعُ مِنْ قُوَّةِ قَرِيحَتِهِ أن يستخرج منه أحكاما ومسائل. So his comprehension would be inferior to the one to whom he conveys, such that the one to whom this one who heard firsthand conveys, so he doesn't hear it firsthand, this recipient, he is, although he's not firsthand witness to the news, his comprehension surpasses that of that firsthand, surpasses the comprehension of that firsthand recipient. But this firsthand recipient is conveying to him purely and accurately, and from the strength of his genius, he will be able to make use of this transmission. And يستخرج منه أحكاما ومسائل, and then he will extract from it rules and cases. ويسمى هذا الاستنباط. This is called derivation or extraction. والذي سمع ليس عنده هذه القريحة القوية. And the one who heard firsthand does not have this prodigious genius. إنما يفهم المعنى الذي هو قريب من اللفظ. He merely understands the meaning that is close to the wording. Yani, there are implications that he doesn't catch, and also other things. من هنا يعلم أن بعض الصحابة يكون أقل فهما ممن يسمع منهم حديث رسول الله. From here it is known, and this is an important lesson, that some of the companions would have inferior comprehension to some of those who hear the hadiths from them. Some of the successors, yani this hadith proves that some of the successors of the companions had superior comprehension to some of the companions, although they were taking the hadiths from the companions. Very important lesson there. That's how sometimes the student surpasses the teacher. وفي لفظ لهذا الحديث فرب حامل فقه إلى من هو أفقه منه. And according to another wording of this hadith, many a carrier of fiqh there is to someone who has more fiqh than him. So it means many a carrier of the hadiths that have the rules for fiqh in them there are, or there is, to someone who is actually a mujtahid. He has more fiqh than the one who's conveying the hadiths to him, teaching him, who's teaching him. He has more fiqh than the one who's teaching him. And in fact, he's a mujtahid who can extract rules from the hadith. وَهَاتَانِ الرِّوَايَتَانِ فِي التِّرْمِذِي وَابْنِ حِبَّانِ. And these two renditions of the hadith are in At-Tirmidhi and Ibn Hibban. وَهَذَا الْمُجْتَهِدْ هُوَ مَوْرِدُ قَوْلِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. And this mujtahid, he is the subject. He is the context of what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا اجْتَهَدَ الْحَاكِمُ فَأَصَابَ. If the ruler or the judge makes ijtihad and is correct, فَلَهُ أَجِرَانِ, then he has two rewards. وَإِذَا اجْتَهَدَ فَأَخْطَأَ فَلَهُ أَجْرٌ. And if he makes ijtihad and he's mistaken, then he has a single reward. Rawahu al-Bukhari. Al-Bukhari reported that. So Shaykh said, this hadith is limited to the mujtahid, not to anyone else. Although the word in this hadith is hakim, that means ruler or judge, it's not limited to a judge, and it's not limited to a ruler, although it has the word hakim, the ruler or the judge. Rather, it is limited to the mujtahid, even though the word mujtahid is not there in the hadith, but the verb is there. Ijtahad al-hakim the ruler or the judge made ijtihad, this means here he's a mujtahid. And any mujtahid who's not a ruler or a judge is included in this hadith. إِذَا اجْتَهَدَ الْحَاكِمُ فَأَصَابَ فَلَهُ أَجْرَانِ. If the ruler makes ijtihad and then he's correct, he gets 2 rewards. One reward for making ijtihad, that's a good deed, and 1 reward for being correct. That's an obligation, actually. He has the reward of an obligation. وَإِذَا اجْتَهَدَ فَأَخْطَأَ فَلَهُ أَجْرٌ. And if he makes ijtihad and he's mistaken, he has a single reward. He has the reward for his effort, which is an obligation on him. So this does not include any scholar who's not a mujtahid. For example, Ibn Taymiyyah is not included in this hadith, because Wahhab is going to go to this hadith quick to excuse a massive blasphemous blunder of Ibn Taymiyyah, like saying that hellfire comes to an end. This hadith has nothing to do with something like that. Or any other scholar who's not a mujtahid. وإنما خص رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في هذا الحديث الحاكم بالذكر. And the only reason why the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم specifically mentioned the ruler or the judge in this hadith, لأنه أحوج إلى الاجتهاد من غيره, because he needs ijtihad more than anyone else. Not because what he's saying is limited to the ruler or the judge. فَقَدْ مَضَى مُجْتَهِدُونَ فِي السَّلَفِ مَعَ كَوْنِهِمْ حَاكِمِينَ. There were mujtahids of the Salaf who were rulers. كَالْخُلَفَاءِ السِّتَّةِ, like the 6 caliphs. أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي والحسن بن علي وعمر بن عبد العزيز وشريح القاضي. Like Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and Al-Hasan, the son of Ali, and Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and Judge Shuraih. SubhanAllah. I want to learn about this Judge Shuraih. May Allah grant me that knowledge. Ameen. Ash-SharH, the explanation. Let's stop here. Any questions?